Welcome back to my channel and welcome to episode 2 of this year's advent calendar on my channel, where I will be talking about the highest charting songs on the Billboard year-end charts from the year 2000 up until modern day. And 2001 is the year I have in front of me, and as you can see, all of the artworks from the top 20 of that year are on screen, all of the tiers are also on screen, and I will be trying to place them out where I think they fit best according to my personal preference. I don't think there's a lot to really go through before starting to talk about some songs today. I do have all of the names of the songs to kind of have like a little bit of a cheat paper next to me, because I haven't memorized every single feature and every single title. I wasn't familiar with all of these songs heading into this video, I have to be honest, so I've been listening through them quite a bit in the last few days, as I will have done for all of these videos, to really just refresh my memory so I know what I think about all of them quite clearly. So these are the 20 songs. We're starting from number 20, and I'll work my way up to the highest charting song of the year, which, as you can see here, is Hanging by a Moment by Lifehouse. But I'm starting to talk about Peaches and Cream by 112. And this is not a song I was familiar with at all heading into this. I've never heard this song before, but of course it was huge over in America, I suppose. I'm not sure how popular it was in Sweden, but I gotta say I wouldn't mind if it was actually quite popular, because this is kind of a fun track, I think. I think mainly like the beat is really what makes it stand out quite a bit. There's this kind of acidic work on the synth bass, which is really fun. The sound design overall just really clicks with me. I also think that kind of the beat that it has sounds really deep and I guess a little bit muddy in a good way, and then the vocal performances are mostly quite bright to really create a nice contrast to that, which is nice. The chorus also very catchy. It has this whispery vocal going for it that's just really fun to listen to. I tap my foot. I do think perhaps the song lacks a little bit of variation and it drags towards the end, but overall I'm having a good time with it, and I think it solidly fits into the B tier in my book anyway. So a good start, I gotta say. And of course the start will only get better. This is Follow Me by Uncle Kracker, which I think is one of the most catchy songs I've ever heard in my life, I have to be honest. It's one of these melodies that just sticks in here from the very first time I heard it, and it just can't get out, and I kind of love it for that. I don't think it's one of these melodies that are annoying, or that you just want to get rid of from your memory. I sing along to this every single time. It's so engaging to me. And the backdrop for the song is really quite sweet, mellow. It's acoustic driven, and the vocal performance by Uncle Kracker here is just really kind of inviting and just charming. It has a lot of warmth. I think the song flows very naturally, and everything comes together so wonderfully in this track. I get so much enjoyment out of listening to it, and it's one of these songs that I can put on at any time and just really enjoy it to the fullest. It's a proper, very strong A kind of song. I said in the last video that I'm kind of saving the S tier category for just the select few songs that I truly think are the greatest things ever. I don't think Follow Me is very creatively put together. It's just very effective, so that's why it will end up in A. Still really love it though, I have to be honest with that. Next up, place number 18. This is Nelly, and Nelly is an artist I will talk a lot about in these videos because he was massive back in the early 2000s. This one is with City Spud, a person I'm not very familiar with, but the song is called Ride With Me. And this one, the first time I heard it, I was like, maybe not really for me, but then I heard it a few more times and I'm like, I do enjoy it. I get what they're going for. It's quite rhythmically engaging. It has a fast kind of approach to it. I think it's really energetic. Like the guitar strumming that it consists of has a lot of energy. It's fun to listen to. The chorus is really sing-along friendly, I think, and has a nice combination of rhythms that stacks on top of the beat. Perhaps I think the setbacks would probably be that this song gets tiring actually quite fast. I think that it doesn't really create that much variation. The beat is very much constant, and those choruses, while really catchy, they don't really develop throughout the song, which might be a setback. And I think like overall the rap performance, I'm not an expert when it comes to rapping, but I think the rap performances here kind of feels a bit placeholder-ish. They don't stand out much to me. They're just there, and I don't really remember them. That could be a me issue, me issue. Sorry, but overall, I still think this is a C tier song. It's enjoyable, it's solid, it's fun altogether. Just not that outstanding to me, I suppose. But I think it still fits in the middle of the tier list here. Now, next up is Angel by Shaggy, and I'm sure most people are familiar with Shaggy. If you've heard his voice once, you'll never forget it. And he does contribute a lot of fun to his music. I think Angel is a really sweet tune at its core. I think the vocal during the choruses, like Rayvon is the feature on this song. Forgot to mention that. No, but Rayvon has a really good chorus in this song. I think it's catchy, it's memorable, it's sung very sweetly, and just the beat behind it kind of creates this irresistible touch of just constantly tapping my foot along to the beat, and it's very sing-along friendly again. A lot of the songs back in 2001, I suppose, were the verses by Shaggy. They're fun, they stand out, but that's mainly due to him. I don't think they're like the top tier Shaggy performance, but still fun track altogether. I do really like that sweet chorus that it has. The beat works as well. It's obviously very reminiscent of The Joker by Steve Miller Band, but altogether I'd say B tier for this song. Not sure if I prefer it over Peaches and Cream. I always struggle, like, which song should I put above the other in this category. I'll put Angel above because I do think it has a stronger hook to it, so I'll stick with that. Next up, Where the Party At by, let me get this right, Jagged Edge and Nelly. Nelly back again, but Jagged Edge is not a group I'm familiar with, because I assume they're a group because there's a lot of people on the artwork here. I haven't studied that much. But this song has it's kind of obvious what they're going for, because they have a very, very memorable kind of chant going for the song in the hook that's just really kind of, I mean, it's famously catchy and provides a lot of energy to this track. It makes it enjoyable altogether. I don't think, like, outside of that chant, melodically, this song hasn't really stuck with me, and the beat hasn't really either. It's somewhat repetitive, and I think that the song doesn't really contribute much of a variation throughout. Maybe they didn't set out to do that, but it holds back my enjoyment quite a bit. It's still, a fun listen. That hook is fun to just listen to and kind of sing along to, but it's not as interesting altogether, I think, as Ride With Me, for instance. So I'm placing this one in the D category. It's still, it has some decent ideas in there, but it just gets a bit too formulaic and uninteresting for me as it goes on. So I think D fits it quite nicely. Now, next up is You Remind Me by USHER, and USHER is, of course, another artist I will be talking so much about in these videos. I've had a little bit of a sneak peek on the other Billboard charts in the years after this, and he appears a lot. This is the first time, and this song is called You Remind Me, and this is it's a strong one. I think USHER is altogether an artist that I wasn't really aware how big he was, but I get it. Like, when I listen to songs like this, I just get it. It's accessible. It's kind of creatively put together. It has a super catchy beat that it just will never fail to make my head nod along to it. And USHER's vocal performances are usually very dynamic, and I think his vocal harmonization is really strong here. It feels purposeful. I think that it feels just altogether very compelling, I suppose. It's just a song that clicks in many aspects. I don't think perhaps, like, melodically it's his strongest work, but the beat is solid, or it's even more than solid. It's actually really, really great in my book, and has this distinct appeal to it. So yeah, it's altogether just a really great tune. I'm placing this at the very top of B tier, I'd say. Really enjoyable one. I do enjoy it quite a bit, I have to say. Yeah. And next up is, of course, a song which really should be up my alley quite a lot. Stained is the group, and the song is called It's Been a While. And I'm not really sure why this is like the standout Stained song in terms of popularity, because this is a group I quite enjoy a lot of their songs. I think they're very much up my alley, music preference-wise. I do like the alt-rock scene of the early 2000s and the 90s, I suppose. And this one works in that regard. I just don't think it really stands out that much. I mean, I think it's rather a bit of a slow and draggy song. It doesn't have that melodic grip to me that I really would have enjoyed. And I really like the main thing I probably wish is that it would have really developed more throughout the song, because I don't think it actually has this constant progression or consistent development in it that makes it feel more, I guess, intense or more emotionally loaded. It's just kind of ponders on, and it's in the middle there. I do, of course, still really like, I mean, the style that it has. The vocals are characteristic, I'd say, and the instrumentation absolutely clicks for me. I'll place it in solid, but I don't think it's much more than that. Ride With Me is obviously also a catchier tune, so I'm placing it below there. I'm a little bit, I won't say I'm disappointed. I do enjoy this song for what it is, and I can always put it on, but I'm just a little bit maybe disappointed that this is the song that they're most famous for. I don't really understand why it is like that, but hey, it a lot of people found this one and they did enjoy it, so all the more power to them. I'll be a bit more hipsterish, I guess, when it comes to their music. Still solid enough. I wouldn't turn it off if I heard it, but it's not one I seek out that much. Now next up, Joe is back, who I of course talked about in yesterday's video for 2000, who had a very big hit then. This is the next one that charted really well for him. It's called Stutter, along with Mystikal, who is a feature on this track, and it's the double take remix that charted so highly. And I think the main standout of this track is probably Joe himself, who I don't think is that outstanding or expressive or characteristic, but he does a fine work in this one, has a pretty dynamic performance. However, everything else about this song is not something that I'd be likely to return to. It feels melodically very uninteresting to me. The beat sounds quite flat in my ears. It's also insanely repetitive. And then we got a feature from this Mystikal, who I don't really know how to put into words what I think of his performance. It sounds like an angry Dr. Teeth from the Muppets, just shouting about, let me see, I actually quoted him here. He shouts about being the rapper that she heard slapping up in the Waffle House, whatever that is. It's an F-tier song, sorry, Joe, but the Mystikal feature just dragged you down there, because I did not enjoy that for a second. So no, not a song I will return to. I gave it my 5th place, and that's probably all I will ever give it. So sorry, but yeah, it is the way it is. And Shaggy has another song, as you can see here on this year's charts at number 12. This is with Rik Rok, and it's called It Wasn't Me, and I'm sure you know this song. It's very famous. I'm not sure if I'm overly excited about this song. I do think that absolutely it is catchy. That hook really kind of works. I think the flow of it all really clicks as well. Shaggy his performance is just like an angel. It's very similar to it. It has a lot of character to it. It stands out. But overall, I guess kind of the topical sense of this track is really what puts me off from it. I don't think it's very, what do you say, sympathetic. It's not looking to be sympathetic either, but I get they want to be funny and it's supposed to be a funny topic, but I just don't click it. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt to put them in E tier, because I do think that it's catchy and I understand why some would consider it fun, but it's simply just not for me. So I'm placing It Wasn't Me in the E tier here. However, I'm moving swiftly on to Hit 'Em Up Style, parentheses, Oops, by Blue Cantrell. And this song is kind of like the song that made me just realize I don't think I know my own personal preference of music, because if I just heard a clip about this, I would be like, oh yeah, I remember this song. I don't particularly like it that much. However, now when I've sat down to listen to it, it's one of the most insanely catchy songs that's just tons of fun to listen to. It's irresistible in its presentation and delivery and impact, and I love every single second of it. I think everything just comes together so well in the song. I think the beat is very, very strong. It's one of these that just gets your attention instantly. And along with that, it has such a catchy hook that I think is performed quite well. I guess, I'm not really educated within this style of music. I don't know much about it. But if I want to really delve into it, this is exactly what the song's like. This is exactly the type of song that I'd love to just hear more of. I'd love to listen to more songs like this one. I have tons of fun listening to it. It's a secure A tier kind of song, because it's just, it's just really fun, really catchy, and it feels purposeful. Absolutely, I think that I'm convinced by it, and it just really clicks for me. So lots of fun, blue Cantrell, hit 'em up style, A-tier song for me. And next up is actually another really strong tune. I think this one, Independent Women Part 1 by Destiny's Child, who of course I also talked about yesterday. And this one's strong. It's there's a lot of, I guess, vocal acrobatics throughout the song, which I think can be a bit much at times. But I'd say that this one's quite nicely balanced altogether. The beat is really enjoyable. And I just kind of like this song altogether. It is catchy, of course. Like it's a hook that most people are familiar with. I think that it really nails the approach that it wants to take, and I get its success. I think that I can kind of approve of it really, because I do think this song comes together with quite a lot of conviction and enjoyment really. So B tier for this one. I'm placing it top of B tier actually. Yeah, it's that great in my opinion. I do really enjoy this one. I think it's very strong. Next up, Lenny Kravitz with Again, and I would consider myself to be a slight fan of Mr. Kravitz here. He has quite a few songs that I can definitely return to and enjoy. Again is kind of not one of the more memorable ones. I think it has a lot of anonymity, I guess you say. It's a rather anonymous tune from his discography, I'd say. It trundles along, and even though it's competent and the guitar work is very convincing in the song, it also feels somewhat sincere, I suppose. It just kind of hasn't stuck with me melodically. I don't find it to be very intriguing at all, if I'm completely honest. And there's a lot of I think this song has some really strange mixing, which I don't really understand. Like every time the percussion really hits in the track, it kind of just pushes out all of the other sound inputs, which creates a really weird, and I guess it's a dynamic soundscape, but it's a strange one that I don't particularly enjoy. So this song kind of not one that I'd gladly return to by him. I'm placing it in the D category because it's still competent enough, and it sounds decent. Like he sounds decent. The guitar work sounds decent. The mixing is strange, but I get what they're going for. I just don't particularly enjoy it personally. So yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. Next up, something I absolutely enjoy, Thank You by Dido, which of course had a huge success back in the day. And I mean, my main relationship with the song is of course the way that it's being used as a sample in Stan by Eminem. But on its own, huge hit as well, charted at number 8 on the Billboard year-end charts here. And for good reason. It's a wonderfully constructed tune that flows so well between sections. It feels fresh every time it moves into a new transition, I suppose. The melodic writing of the track is top tier. I think Dido's vocal performance is incredibly both characteristic and compelling in this song. I think everything just comes together nicely. It's very sweet. It's very mellow altogether. But really what it just connects with me. I listen and I hear every single word and I want to take it all in. And yeah, it's just very, very well written, well composed, well arranged. And the structure is flawless. So it's another A-tier song. It's perhaps not as engaging to me as a Hit 'em Up Style or a Follow Me. I think those songs are way catchier, but this one is way prettier. So they all belong up there, I guess, for their own different reasons. Next up, another very, very strong song here from Eve and Gwen Stefani, which is called Let Me Blow Your Mind. And I guess the main thing about this song is the beat, because you know this beat. You've heard it a million times. It's that strong and that convincing. I think the attitude in this track is really strong. I do like the rapping in it. I think the chorus really works as well. Perhaps not the most like intonation heavy in its focus. It's not a melody that really challenges you or impresses you, but wow, it sticks in here absolutely. And I just love the whole attitude of it all. It's very assertive. It's very dominant. The drive is there. The energy is there. I'm clicking with it. It's a top of the B tier for me. I'm leaning towards putting it in A, but I think it holds back a little bit. I think it is a rather repetitive song at its core, which might just detract my enjoyment a little bit, but it's still Really, really great in my book. I enjoy it a lot. So B tier for even Gwen Stefani here. And that leads us nicely on to talking about Matchbox 20 again, who of course is a band that I talked about yesterday. That time it was about the song Bent, and now it's about If You're Gone, which I don't think I have really the same qualms with this one as I did with If You're Gone. This one has far superior mixing, I'd say. It sounds more cohesive, but I'm still not clicking with it entirely. I think there are issues with this one as well. Strengths would be probably like there's a very sweet finger-picking guitar at its core in this song that I do enjoy. The instrumentation is quite neat, so that's also a plus. But the song is just quite inoffensive and doesn't really stand out that much. I think it just passes me by, and it passes me by to an extent which is absolutely greater than It's Been a While by Stained, for instance. This is also the D tier. It's, you know, the mixing's better than in Again, so I guess I place it above, but it has a lot of similar issues. It is a bit on the anonymous side. Even though it's sweet, it's just a song that kind of goes on and I don't pay too much attention to it. I think Matchbox 20 has a lot of better songs, but this one isn't really in there. Still, charted really well, and I guess it sticks with people, just hasn't stuck with me personally. And now, of course, there's I'm Real by Jennifer Lopez and Ja Rule, and this is the Murder remix. And I gotta say, maybe it's just not my kind of music, but my, how awful I find this to be. It's melodically so uninteresting. The beat just trundles along. The rhythms that kind of clash throughout the song are not particularly engaging to me. I don't think it's a fun listen. I think it's an eternally ceaseless, slow, and tiresome listen. And I might be alone in that, but this is just not a song that I enjoy at all. And that could be a me issue, but I don't enjoy listening to this song. I've given it so many listens now to really try and find something that I enjoy about it, but it just trundles along without ever really awakening any emotion within me other than frustration, really. This is the worst. This is probably the worst one that I've listened to in these two videos so far. I just do not enjoy it at all. I think it's definitely an F tier song in my book. Sorry about that. If you love it, you love it, and all the more power to you. But I'm not its audience, I suppose. Next up is Drops of Jupiter by Train, which of course is a very, very famous song, and I get it. I do get it. I think it's sweet. The chorus absolutely sticks in your head. I think it's well structured as well. It just has a nice flow to it. The vocals are strong as well. Instrumentation-wise, works. I just think everything's kind of just decent about it. I don't think it's outstanding in any regard. It doesn't really have any drive or emotional punch that really hits me. It's not a song I connect with. I just have it on in the background and I enjoy it for what it is. It's just decent. It's a proper C tier song for me. I don't think it's anything more than that. But I know a lot of people really, really adore this song, and all the more power to you in that, because I do see its redeeming qualities. It's just not something that I connect with particularly much, even though I enjoy it. So C tier for Drops of Jupiter for me. I think it's actually called Drops of Jupiter and like Tell Me in parentheses or something. But I didn't write that down on my cheat paper, so... Next up, Janet Jackson, All For You. And Janet Jackson, I'm not sure really where I stand on the songs that I've heard by her. This is not really up my alley. I do see the redeeming qualities of this song though. Like it's rhythmically quite fun, and I get why it would get someone just really to enjoy it. It's dance friendly, absolutely. Has a funky beat to it with a wide instrumentation really that I can approve of. The hook is somewhat catchy, even though it's quite monotonous and minimalistic. It does have that kind of rhythmic sway to it that is fun. But ultimately, I do find its monotonousness, I suppose, to be a bit excessive. And the song is like almost 6 minutes long and just never ends. And I just don't particularly enjoy sitting through it. I understand its qualities, but it's an E tier song, I'd say. It might... Yeah, I just think the fact that it never ends is really, I guess, the main issue I have with it, which just makes it less enjoyable than the more anonymous efforts in the D tier, I suppose, for me. I don't think this one stands out particularly much either, even though it is upbeat. 2 songs left to go. The first one is called Fallin by Alicia Keys, and I am quite positive, usually, when it comes to Alicia Keys. Fallin is a wonderful introduction to what she's capable of, because this is packed with attitude. The beat is immense. I think that it just sticks instantly. It grabs your attention, it holds on, it's palpable. It's using a lot of dramatization throughout, which just really hits. And the vocal performance is superb. It's so diverse. It has a lot of dynamic qualities, and it contrasts with the beat really nicely. I think that Alicia Keys really paints a story with the song, and it's very assertive and believable in her presentation of it. Very compelling tune altogether that brings me a lot of enjoyment. It's another A-tier song. Where should I put it in this category? I do not know. I'll just place it. I have no preference in here. Follow Me is probably the catchiest of them all. Blue Cantrell is like Hit 'em Up Style is probably the most fun to listen to. Thank You is the most emotionally loaded, and Fallin is just a vibe and a banger, I suppose. So they're all in there for their different reasons. Still, A-tier song from Alicia Keys here, which leads me nicely into Hanging by a Moment by Lifehouse. And again, it's another year where I feel like the number 2 song has more of a number 1 aura around it, I suppose. Like in 2000, I think Smooth is just a more engaging hit than Breathe was. And in this case, I think Fallin would have made a more, it's a more outstanding effort than Hanging by a Moment. This one is a bit on the laid back side. It's still very enjoyable for me. I'm a fan of the genre, of course, but melodically, it's where it's strong and instrumentation wise. But at the same time, it doesn't really have that dynamic engagement to it. The drive isn't really particularly forceful. It's very sweet, it's very mellow and accessible, I guess is the main thing. Maybe that's why it's number 1. It's probably the most accessible song of the year, along with Drops of Jupiter, I suppose. But I do think this one has a little more going for it. It's just really enjoyable altogether. I can enjoy this song at any time and just sit back and take it in and listen to it and have a good time. But it's not the song that I really seek out. It just comes together quite professionally and kind of convincingly. It's a solid B-tier song, and I think it's better than those songs there. I think it's kind of in the similar vein of You Remind Me by USHER there. And that's the end of my tier list. No S-tier songs today, but 4 very strong A-tier songs in my book. And other than that, it's kind of even altogether here on the list. So yeah, let me know what you think of these songs in the comments, please. And hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow when I will be talking about 2002. Be on the lookout for that video. Take care of yourselves until then, and bye-bye.